Hey everyone, we are back with another YouTube video. Today, Cleese is going to be commenting on a video about Call of Duty's, for sake of better words, decrease in performance, lack of numbers lately. So lock in, and if you enjoy what you're hearing, hit that like and subscribe.
That was hilarious, and I love it. I love it. I'm probably gonna have her do all my intros from now on. But yes, today we are reacting to legendary drops, and it's basically same thing about Call of Duty. The numbers are not looking as pretty. The numbers are not looking as good as they want it to be. So, of course, they'll have to do something. But November, December, holidays, maybe people, buy more copies of this game. Hopefully the numbers go up. That's what they're hoping. But to me, I don't know, man. let's see what my man got to say.
Call of Duty was too big to fail, famously.
They said Call of Duty was too big to fail. I think Call of Duty themselves said that. That's where they went wrong in the first place. That's exactly where they went wrong.
Last words of the Titanic, if memory serves me right. And just like naming your game after the Concorde, you are setting yourself up for failure. But doesn't that quote just define Call of Duty and Activision? The idea that they deserve success without trying, that they deserve your money without earning it. And to their surprise, it didn't work. Black Ops 7 might be the worst performing Call of Duty in the history of the franchise. If the trailer's getting bombed with dislikes and, well, so many more games actually being worth our money wasn't a sign of the times, a 60 to 70% decline in sales and player counts will be the final nail in the coffin.
Now, don't get it confused. The numbers are down. There's more competition. The numbers are down. The multiplayer still plays fine. The zombies still play fine. Campaign is shit. There's a lot of, there's a lot of good, but they are competition. You got Arc Raiders. You got Battlefield 6. So people are playing other games. Okay. So it's not down because the game completely is shit. It's because people are playing other games because of what Call of Duty has been doing to us for the past 6 years.
Nobody has any idea how bad this is. What if I told you guys Dragon Age the Veilguard did better? And that's only the tip of the iceberg.
Wait, I haven't even heard of that game. Yo, Call of Duty's getting beat by a game we haven't heard of? What the
Black Ops 7 is the most phoned-in entry in the history of the franchise. They barely took the time to scrub off the Grok logo from some of the call signs and calling cards, delivering one of the most embarrassing campaigns I've ever seen for a first-person shooter. And it's a game that ultimately could have been an expansion or a map pack, but oh man, we wouldn't be able to charge $70.
The greed. We've said that. The greed will do a lot to businesses and people.
So today what I want to do is I want to talk about one of the most deserved failures in gaming history, Black Ops 7 and the Call of Duty franchise. I want to talk about how this publisher has strip-mined their IP until there's nothing left, and how I think they have backed themselves into a corner they can't escape. Because if Black Ops 6 lost them $300 million,
oh my God,
and Black Ops 7 is doing worse, oh no. I want to share something with you guys, an experience that I had that I'm sure a lot of other people enjoyed, something that I think honestly sums up both Call of Duty and just modern gaming as a whole at the exact same time. After I downloaded Black Ops 7, this is how the timeline went. Open the game needs to now restart for an update. Load it up again. Get dumped into a menu with every other Call of Duty stacked on top of each other like a graveyard of past mistakes. Immediately get hit with an ad to buy the game that I've already purchased. Hunt down the actual Black Ops 7 tile. Play a cutscene, wait for the shaders to install because they can't be bothered to preload those. Now you're finally in Black Ops 7. Oh, wait, click the co-op campaign because they're not bothering to deliver a single player one. Play another cutscene, get shoved into a matchmaking menu, sign a code of conduct, search for a match, load the match, play another cutscene. 15 minutes. It took me 15 minutes from install to actually touching game.
I get it. I get it. No, the marketing is too much. The marketing at some point, like to have a pop-up on a game that you already purchased, pop up again to purchase, is diabolical. And like, who's doing the marketing at Call of Duty? Activision, Microsoft, Treyarch. Who, like, and I understand his frustration because you open up the game, it takes you 15 minutes to get to to the campaign. I remember back then you used to just be able to start the game up. That would take a little while because everything back then was a little slower. And then you just click new game or continue game and you're right back to where you started. You know, so I understand. I mean, 15 minutes is crazy just to play a stupid ass co-op game. And who told them to do that? Whose idea was it to let's make this campaign a fucking co-op campaign? Like, why would you do that?
Play in any other game, I press play on Steam and I'm in that menu in seconds. But in Call of Duty, every inch of friction is intentional. They don't preload shaders, they don't preload patches, they push all of that to the client because your inconvenience is their workflow. They funnel you into their unified launcher to be able to blast you with ads, sales, battle passes, bundles, anything except the game that you paid for. The moment I launched
$70.
Black Ops 7, nothing was for me. Every second of it served them. My time, my convenience, my experience wasted for 15 minutes because the player's perspective isn't even in the room anymore. Now, look, I am almost struggling to be able to find the words to tear this franchise apart, partially because there is just so much wrong with it, and also because I'm just numb to it at this point. Every conversation about this series ends with the same shrug. What do you expect? It's Call of Duty. It has become the poster child for everything that is broken in the games industry. Pure creative bankruptcy, Trojan horse into a box release year after year, solely to squeeze another quarter out of a fan base that they openly disrespect. A game made for one purpose: revenue, led by serpent-eyed executives who treat their audience and their content creators like disposable marketing tools. We need you in Verdansk, or better yet, not allowing content creators to take a bathroom break because it might mess up their B-roll.
Really?
And now he's been waiting. He's been waiting like 40 minutes ago.
The thing is, I think the person that told him thought that this was the test log, but this is the actual log. Is the thing.
Okay, I mean,
because
you gotta go to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
It has to be after. It has to be after.
I mean, I'm just speaking up for him.
These guys don't even care.
Wait. I'm a grown ass man. I'm going to the bathroom right the fuck now. I didn't even know that happened. I'm going to the bathroom right now. Nah, I'm not standing up for that. I didn't even know that happened.
Care about basic human dignity or health. Why would they care about your video game? This attitude, this open contempt for their own customers bleeds straight into Black Ops 7. The campaign is just brain rot masquerading as a video game. It feels frenetic and nonsensical with no real purpose. None of it connects because the people that were making it clearly didn't know what they were making in the first place. They're resurrecting long dead enemies, long dead allies, long dead plot lines, all because of some psychosis toxin that conveniently lets them hand wave.
You know what it is? I feel like the same thing with the car industry sadly is happening with the big companies that are making games, right? I don't feel like they're talking to each other, right? Because you got somebody making a campaign, you got another person working on this map on a campaign, you got another person working on this on a campaign, and they just smack them together, right? Put it together, and then they expect it to just flow or like just magically works. That's how the car industry is, right? Somebody's making the engine, transmissions somewhere else, bodies somewhere else, frame is somewhere else, and they just kind of like put it together. And then they just wonder why the steering rack is fucking buried. I don't know, but it's just like, I feel like they do the same thing with this. They don't communicate. I think making a game, everybody that's making the game needs to be in the same fucking room. At the end of the day, I think ideas will flow better. The game concept will flow better, and the games will be better.
Anything that they couldn't write, the whole thing just devolves into you're literally just fighting your hallucinations because that's the only thing that their story had left. The game constantly blends the current timeline with Mason's imagination, which turns into these pseudo-Inception levels with zombies, flower monsters, and some of the most overcooked mechanics in the entire industry. And all of this is building towards these boss fights that are so tedious and repetitive that it almost feels like a prank. Shoot the glowing flowers so that you can deal damage. Throw the giant machetes so you can deal damage. Repeat until you lose the will to continue.
Right.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any more miserable, the game is forcing you into co-op where half of the lobby is going AFK at the first checkpoint.
That's
it
crazy.
is less of a campaign and more of a shared suffering more than anything else. Now, I could make the case, like a lot of other people, that at least the multiplayer and zombies modes are fine. The maps feel all right, even though half of them are just reheated leftovers from earlier Black Ops and Modern Warfare games.
True.
I saw that Call of Duty content creator JGod replied to my post on Twitter after I gave an update on my experience, and he made concessions about the campaign, minimized it because it's only 3 hours, and said that multiplayer and zombies are good overall. And I get that perspective. But in that moment, I realized and replied, there are just better games to play than lining up to punch the ticket on another Call of Duty. $70 for a brain-dead, phoned-in game that could have just been another map pack or an expansion.
You know what? I agree with him. Legendary Drop. I mean, he has a lot of points. Okay, this is for sure everyone's thought process when it comes to this Call of Duty game. It could have been like a expansion, a map pack for BO6. You know, to be completely honest with you, they could have just not dropped something this year and just waited till next year, because that's what it kind of feels like. If you take BO6, you add wall jumping to it with new guns, you have BO7. It's simple as that. And people are sick of buying $70 games each year, plus in-game microtransactions to be receiving the same game the next year. So it's just like, I mean, if you're making all this money on us and we're happy to spend that when we are spending it, why not just give us something new? I mean,
I could get by. Guys, I could play this game. I could even have fun with my friends, but I am just sick and tired of wasting my time and money on games and companies that don't deserve it. I don't need to make excuses. I don't need to play their game. I'm over it. And judging by the numbers, it looks like for the first time in franchise history, the players finally agree. Everyone is sick of Call of Duty. Black Ops 7 launched to a pitiful 87,000 concurrent players on Steam. And yeah, sure, over the weekend, it scraped its way up to 100,000. But you got to remember, that number reflects the Call of Duty launcher, the unified launcher, representing anybody that's playing every Call of Duty title that's inside of it, including the free-to-play Battle Royale Warzone, a launcher that before this game released was averaging around 37,000 concurrent players. So if you're doing the math, Black Ops 7 only added about 50,000 concurrent players on release day and maybe 70,000 players across the weekend. That means this multi-million-dollar blockbuster performed worse than Dragon Age the Veilguard at launch.
Oh my God.
Let that sink in. And guys, none of this should be shocking. Leading up to the launch of Black Ops 7, every red flag was waving, from the online discourse to the trailers being nuked with dislikes. People were brushing it off because Call of Duty always sells. Even Activision was leading into that delusion when they literally said that the franchise was too big to fail when they were asked if they were worried about Battlefield 6. And now, well, they got a lot to worry about, because if we compare this to Black Ops 6's launch last year, that game peaked over 300,000 concurrent players, which means that Black Ops 7 is down 60 to 70%.
So this is where they kind of went wrong. Well, not kind of. They did go wrong with that, very much so. Thinking with that ego where it's just like, oh yeah, we're too big to fail, because they didn't know if BF6 was going to be good. They didn't know if, you know, Battlefield was gonna hit because of Battlefield 2042. So they like, we don't believe in it. It's gonna be shit just like the last game. But no, that's not what happened. That's not the case. A lot of people went and tried BF6 and they like it, and they still there. A lot of people are playing Arc Raiders. They like it. They're still there. And those people are core fans of Call of Duty, and they play Call of Duty. But now it's hard to get them back. You know what I'm saying? Where they started. It's hard because they have a game that takes care of their product, a game where they care about the people, and they're enjoying themselves. They're not in this cycle. And people that are still playing Call of Duty, we feel like we're in this cycle of the same thing being repeated.
Now, as usual, you've got people that want to deny reality. The moment Steam charts come up, people suddenly say that the platform doesn't matter anymore. Conveniently, that argument is always coming from people whose
That's
identity or oftentimes their income depends on Call of Duty succeeding every single time. It's a Call of Duty content creator, some diehard fanboy that's pretending that the game is just being played everywhere else but the biggest gaming platform in the world. They insist that everyone is using the dedicated launcher or they're playing on console, but that excuse crumbles instantly when you remember that the launcher hit almost 500,000 concurrent players the day
That's
it came
true.
to Steam, and Black Ops 6 hit over 300,000
300,000
players last year. Steam charts do not give us exact numbers, but they do give us exact trends, and that trend is not going up. It is falling off a cliff. It is.
So if it's doing bad on Steam, what do you think it's doing on Battle.net? What do you think it's doing on PS5, Xbox? It can't be doing that well. Like, I believe like 2024 and 2025, everyone is basically on a damn PC now, right? But then when they're buying it, like myself, I'm buying it on Battle.net. That's what I'm used to. That's what I've been doing for the past 6 years. So that's what I'm used to. But do these numbers matter? Yes. Does it show a trend? Yes. It's bad overall.
Proof that this game isn't selling, players aren't showing up, and that the product simply isn't worth the money. And that's the core of it. That is why this game is failing right now. What Black Ops 7 offers barely even qualifies as DLC, let alone a full game. The only reason it's packaged this way is because it makes them more money, not because it's offering you anything more of value. Maybe that's worked for them in the past. That's not working anymore. Players are waking up. Players are getting whiplash over the sheer number of genuinely good games that are dropping right now. I don't know how anybody could keep supporting something this lazy when you have Battlefield 6, Arc Raiders, or a whole wave of other games that are actually trying. Now, I've seen some of the conversations about the game's use of AI, and I think that this really comes down to what I've said 100 times by now. It's about implementation and intention. A game like Arc Raiders that's using text-to-speech to be able to make the experience more immersive and accessible, to give players more ways to communicate.
That's different, though. That's different. That's completely different. Call of Duty is using AI operators and like AI this, AI that. That's just a bunch of lazy shit. To be honest with you, that's laziness.
That's done for the good of the game. That's for the good of the players. Call of Duty, on the other hand, used AI to scrape Studio Ghibli-style grok images and shove them into achievements and microtransactions because they wanted to cut costs and make more money. It has nothing to do with the experience. It has nothing to do with value. It has everything to do with profit margins. And when you use tools like that to slowly cheapen your development, it doesn't just affect the AI-generated art or those parts of the games. It infects the entire design philosophy. You can see it across every inch of Black Ops 7, every corner cut, every asset that was reused, every lazy decision that is shaped in this mindset that this product
Zombies looks kind of fire, bro. Like I've yet to play Zombies. It looks kind of dope. Y'all let me know in the comment section if y'all enjoy Zombie, and if you made it this far, please like and subscribe.
Just good enough
it helps
to push another transaction. And that's the part that makes this entire thing so embarrassing and pathetic to me. This is the biggest gaming company, the biggest gaming publisher in the entire world, working on one of the biggest titles, one of the biggest franchises in the world. These guys have generated billions of dollars in revenue. They've generated tons of fan support. They have 20 years of experience making these games. And this is what you deliver. This is all you have in you. It's all you're willing to give. That's what this really comes down to. You have the money, you have the manpower, you have the experience, you have everything you could possibly need, but the only thing that you care about is extracting more money from your audience. Not the quality of the product, not my experience playing it, just getting to that next revenue cycle.
That's right.
Well, I'm glad it doesn't work. I saw somebody upset that I didn't like the game. They said that I had made up my mind before I even pressed play, and they are absolutely right, because these guys have been making the exact same game for 15 years. Am I supposed to have concessions?
I wouldn't say 15 years. I would definitely say about 6, 7 years, man. They've been making the same game. So
for a company like this? Am I supposed to make excuses or be understanding for the now multi-trillion-dollar company? I think not. How do you play this game? How do you buy this game with a straight face when you have seen just how many incredible games that we've had come out over the last year, over the last couple of years? You have Arc Raiders that is still continuing to just blow records and just shatter through the ceiling of the industry right now. You have Battlefield 6 that is still stable. There's other games that are out there. The contrast between a good and a bad game has never been clearer than it is today.
Yeah.
Never. And as crazy as it sounds, for me now, the user experience, the UX, if you will, is my divining rod for a lot of these games now. If I get in, if you are so lost in the I need to make money weeds that you need to set me through a 15-minute nothing experience, my needs, my perspective is not shared or cared about. This is only a vehicle for making revenue. And I think that this year has proven that style of thinking, that kind of game, doesn't work. And I think that's the problem for Activision, and I think it's an even bigger problem for Microsoft because they've built themselves
company.
to make games like that.
They're the parent company. They just are.
Those are the kind of games that these guys are trying to make right now. And while I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Call of Duty fans that are going to sit up and go, no, this game failing will wake the company up. The next game will be better. I don't think you understand.
That's the cycle.
Just how much of a failure this game is. And I don't think that it's one they're going to get away from. And I don't think people understand just how bad it's going to get. These guys are cooked. Okay, now some of you guys are going to like this, but the longer that I look at the...
I wouldn't say cooked. I wouldn't say cooked. They can turn it around. They could definitely turn it around. They just got to lock in. They just got to like, okay, we've heard you, and here's what we're going to do. And transparency also. I feel like they are moving in a certain way where they're not telling us everything. Everything is just so vague, and it just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. Everything is just so vague.
Call of Duty numbers, the worse this picture gets. And I don't just mean, oh, this isn't good. I mean industry shaking. Now, we've already established that this game saw a jump of about 50 to 70,000 concurrent players on Steam through the game's unified launcher. That is a 60 to 70% collapse compared to Black Ops 6, which is over 300,000 players. And now that number has been confirmed even further by UK reporting a 61% decline in physical sales for this game's latest release. Now, yes, I understand that physical is dying, but when two metrics drop by the same margin, that's a pattern that is impossible to ignore. But the part that nobody's talking about here, the part that turns this from a bad year into a full-blown structural failure, is what's happening behind the scenes financially. Last year, Xbox reportedly lost $300 million in sales on Black Ops 6 because the game went to Game Pass. And I've seen some people trying to argue that this year's drop is explained by more players choosing to play on Game Pass instead of buying the game, except for the fact that Game Pass hasn't grown. According to available data, it went from 34 million subscribers back in February of 2024 to 35 million this summer, a single million new subs.
Yeah, that's not a lot. That's not a lot. I mean, AAA games, they definitely need a lot more than that. But as far as Game Pass, I don't see the point of it. I really don't. It's a great concept, but my gripe with it, I don't know. I don't play that many games, so I guess for me it doesn't work. Right? For me, I don't see the point of Game Pass. That's just me though. I don't know. And I don't believe AAA games should be on Game Pass. You're going to lose money no matter what.
That's before the big price increase that we had recently. So even if every single one of those new subscribers
and in this economy, they're raising prices. Game Pass is raising prices in this economy. That doesn't seem smart. I don't know.
It's a guaranteed full price COD buyer. They weren't. It still wouldn't explain a 60 to 70% drop in sales, not even remotely. Guys, this is a franchise that normally sells tens of millions of copies, 20, 30, even
First
40
week.
million in some cases. Cold War, one of the most hated Call of Duties ever, still moved over 30 million copies back in 2020. When a series sits that high for that long, any major dip is going to be dangerous. But a collapse of this size, dropping Call of Duty to maybe a 10 million or less units sold game after 2 decades of dominance, that's the kind of hit that destabilizes an entire publisher. Just look at Ubisoft. Activision has built their entire operational structure on the assumption that Call of Duty would always pump out blockbuster numbers. They have staff for it. They have budgeted for it. They have spent like their future is guaranteed. And now the bottom just fell out. In an article from back in January of this year titled Activision Almost Spent $1.8 billion developing 3 Call of Duty titles, Chris Kerr writes, court filings spotted by GameFile have revealed that Activision Blizzard has spent almost $1.8 billion developing 3 Call of Duty titles that went on to sell a combined 114 million units worldwide. Activision's current head of creative on the Call of Duty series, Patrick Kelly, disclosed the information to the court in California in December of 2024 in response to a lawsuit filed against the company last May. In doing so, he revealed that Call of Duty Black Ops 3 cost $450 million to develop across its life cycle. It went on to sell 43 million units after debuting in 2015. Call of Duty Modern Warfare was developed several years later to the tune of $640 million and sold 41 million copies after its launch in 2019. 2020 release, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, also incurred a development cost of $700 million across its entire life cycle and sold 30 million copies. It's important to reiterate that those figures encompass the lifetime development costs of each title, which often include years of robust post-launch support. As noted by GameFile, however, they do not include the marketing costs, which can represent a notable outlay in their own right. Good Lord, I knew Activision spent a lot of money on Call of Duty, but
oh my God, I didn't think they were spending that much money for what? AI shit? Laziness? I wonder how much they spent on BO7. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I would have never imagined it was anything close to this. The sheer waste and inefficiency here is unbelievable. No wonder these guys are gutting their studios, laying off entire teams and shoving AI in every workflow they can, because based on the numbers that were disclosed in court, and these have to be real because they're legal filings, if we adjust for inflation, there is a very real possibility that Black Ops 7 costs anywhere in the neighborhood of Cold War's $700 million budget, or maybe even pushing,
or even more, 8 to 9.
Up towards $900 million. And that's without marketing. Anyone who's been paying attention to AAA budgets knows that marketing can easily run 25 to 100% of the development costs, sometimes even more. And Call of Duty is the most aggressively marketed game on earth. Soda promotions, sports broadcasts, TV shows, billboards, influencer campaigns, you name it. They blanket every single surface that they can afford. It is absolutely believable that the full spend here likely climbed into the $1 billion range, maybe even more, and now they're watching that investment crater. So that means even if we're keeping it conservative and assume that these guys were expecting around 20 million copies sold, that's roughly $900 million in revenue after platform cuts if we average it at about $45 per copy. With a 60% sales collapse, that falls to around $360 million. Fewer players also means fewer microtransaction buyers, so you're not going to get record-breaking cosmetic revenue when 60% of your audience just vanished. How the hell are you going to make your money back when you
won't be able to. They won't be able to make their money back. Not this year. Maybe not next year. Because GTA is coming out next year. Well, supposedly. We don't know. They might push it back another year. Who knows? Who knows if it ever comes out, first of all. But they're not going to make their money this year.
Blew $700 million plus on a game, and the next one comes out next year. They expected billions. They got a fraction of that, and they spent money like those billions were guaranteed.
Right.
Now, some people are going to say that's fine. They'll make it up next year. That thinking is exactly what got these guys where they are right now. A decade of greed and arrogance that has locked Activision into a release schedule that leaves no room to be able to improve anything. I've talked to Activision and Call of Duty developers. These guys have been saying for years now that they need time to work on the engine, time to improve the anti-cheat, time to actually build something meaningful, but they don't get that time. They are chained to a one-year treadmill that is designed to refresh these Warzone guns, these cosmetics, these battle passes, and that $70 ticket price every single fall. And the next Call of Duty, it's already deep in production.
Yep.
nearing the finish line. There is no space to pivot, no bandwidth to reinvent anything, and no chance that whatever small changes that they try to make now is going to undo the damage. They have built a machine that only moves in one direction. And the moment
And I think that's the problem right there. The every year drop. The every year drop is the issue. They need more time. They need more time. I don't think a game this big, this important, quote unquote, can be built in a year. It doesn't make any sense.
that direction stops being profitable, the whole thing is just going to fall on top of them. And even if Activision wanted to fix any of this, there's a bigger problem for them. Players just don't care anymore. Any changes that they could make now wouldn't even move the needle for a franchise that most people are burnt out on. You guys release these games every single year. A lot of players are just exhausted from buying the same game every year. It barely makes sense for sports titles. It makes even less sense for a first-person shooter. $70 or more, depending on where you live, that is a lot of money to keep dropping on something that hasn't meaningfully changed in a decade. And the truth is more simple than anything. Players just have better options nowadays. Battlefield 6 finally gave a reason for its community to come back to it. Arc Raiders is well supported and still growing to this day. More shooters are on the way. And with independent studios delivering real value at a fraction of the price, who's to say that the next big FPS game doesn't come from a team of 5 people that are selling their game for $10?
And Call of Duty, the quality of the game went down. The graphics, everything about it. Using AI. I mean, I'm not saying don't use AI at all, but it's too big of a game. Too much. Close to $1 billion game to be using AI in my opinion. I mean, come on. That's just, it's too important for them to fail like this. I mean, they're failing bad. But I mean, I still enjoy the game though. Like, I don't know. I'm enjoying the game. The numbers ain't good, but I'm still enjoying the game. Graphics is not as good as BF6 or Arc Raiders. The gameplay is not as good. Campaign is not as good, and the campaign for BF6 is not good at all. But it puts Call of Duty to shame. So, I mean, that says a lot.
Now, this is not the end of their problems because Microsoft and Xbox have built a structure where they can't fix any of this. They've locked themselves into one-year release cycles. They've chained their entire ecosystem to Call of Duty's revenue, and then they turned Activision into Xbox's single biggest financial pillar the moment that acquisition closed. Xbox's content and services revenue jumped by 61% overnight because Activision Blizzard became their entire revenue engine outside of Game Pass. And with Game Pass already losing money, now Call of Duty is losing money. What happens when both pillars crack at the same time? Now, let's zoom out for a second. Name an Xbox title this year that actually sold outside of the Oblivion remake. About
Xbox title, couldn't tell you.
didn't. Outer Worlds 2 didn't. Doom didn't. I'm sure there's a bunch more that I can't remember, but they likely don't even matter in the first place. Every major Xbox release has underperformed. And this franchise, this multi-billion-dollar juggernaut, was supposed to keep the roof held up. Instead, it's collapsing faster than everything else they own. Now layer on top of that the cost cutting, the layoffs, the AI infrastructure, the shrinking talent pool across every studio they control. They're not investing in people. They're not investing in craft. They're not pretending anymore. Their entire strategy is cost reduction by any means necessary, and improving their games isn't anywhere in the plan. It's collateral damage. And given their current position, this is where the wheels fall off. If this game continues to perform as poorly as it has out of the gate, it is going to shake this industry to its core. It's going to prove that there is no such thing as predictable revenue streams in the games industry. And as a result, as a consequence of that, it's going to break apart this AAA hegemony. It's going to make investors very, very nervous. And they're already nervous looking at Ubisoft and how that company fell apart. But I think it's going to wake up a lot of these people to the realization that this is a creative industry first and foremost. And if your effort isn't going into that, and your effort is instead going into, I don't know,
money,
trying to turn it into a factory, soullessly mine some of these IPs, you're going to be met with catastrophic failure. Eventually you will. Maybe it might not be immediately, but it'll definitely happen in the future. And it's going to be to the tunes of billions of dollars in the case of Activision and Call of Duty. I think that it would be different if we could have the conversation that, oh, well, Xbox will just give them more time. We know that's not going to be the case because Microsoft has already come forward saying that they are demanding a 30% profit margin from all of their studios. And that's just not going to work in this situation.
Not when you're losing 61%. The math is not mathing at all. That's not possible. It's not. I mean, I don't even think Warzone or Rebirth, Island, Resurgence is going to be able to do anything about it. Maybe. I mean, we've always seen it where multiplayer game come out as far as Call of Duty goes, and it does great as far as selling copies. It does great. Everybody plays it for the first week or two, and then Season 1 comes out, and then Warzone comes out, Resurgence comes out, and the numbers kind of explode because most people want to play that, and it's free, so the numbers get inflated a little bit. So, I mean, that's really going to be the real test. If the numbers are still down while Resurgence is out and Warzone is out, Houston, we got a problem. Yeah.
And on top of that, who are we kidding? Name a single studio that has actually improved under Xbox's control post-acquisition. I think every single one of them have lost reputation, have lost talent, have lost sales, have lost just about everything, even just recognition. Most people don't even know some of these games anymore. And Xbox has released so many games this year, and I think the only one out of all of them that actually succeeded or that was actually profitable was the Oblivion remake.
Right.
Again, that was a third-party company that made that. That wasn't one of their studios. This is the most deserved downfall in the history of video games. These guys have been exploiting their games and their audiences for so long, and they've gone unopposed in a lot of cases. I think a lot of people just kind of assumed that Call of Duty would always sell, that people would just buy the slop, eat the slop, pigs. It's the silent audience, the mythical silent audience that's out there. But I think it's not happening anymore. I think that there's just too many games that have been coming out. One, games are far too expensive.
True.
And there's just such a contrast between how great some of these games are versus some of these other games that we're seeing. There is such a massive contrast between what you've always been getting and what you never get. It's never been more clear than it is today. I think this is it for them. I really do not see a way out of this. And I think that something that makes this entire situation even worse is that this is not a shot against anybody. Please do not take offense to this if you are a Call of Duty content creator. But every single person that I saw that was talking about how Call of Duty is actually good and the numbers are a lie, don't pay attention to Steam charts. I'd click on them. I'd see, oh, you're a Call of Duty content creator. I'd go and look at their profile or go look at their YouTube channel. And these guys have lost 90% of their viewership over the past 5 years.
Ooh.
That is staggering. And I'm talking guys that were getting 1 million views, 500,000 views on every single upload that dropped down to like 10 or 20K views. And that's not you. That's the game. That is a consequence if you tying your career to a game. I'm not going to tell you that's the truth in this case, but that shows people aren't watching the content. If people aren't watching the content, then
they're not playing the game.
If they're not playing the game, then they're just not interested in it.
Yeah.
And the faster that moves, especially seeing how massive of a decline that is over just 5 years, I don't see how people are going to be interested in this game. And once you lose that interest, it's real hard to get back. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. The Call of Duty fanboys. I mean, you could add me into that, right? But just the creators alone, I have seen the numbers drop. I have seen I mean, it's gonna drop because if you're not watching it to see what you could do better, the metas, the this, the that. If no one's watching it, I mean, no one's playing it. No one cares. It's bottom line, and your numbers will reflect that. You know, but it is what it is. That's why I had to pivot myself. I play Battlefield, I play Call of Duty, and I'm just gonna play anything and everything if I'm interested. So, yeah, But thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys. You guys have a wonderful night. If you made it this far, subscribe and like. Have a good night.